Hey everyone, Sean Joel here from Elevation Leaders, where we help you 10x your business valuation. There's been a lot of talk lately about the decline in entrepreneurship in Canada. We're seeing the same thing across the border in the US as well. There just aren't as many entrepreneurs today as there were, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now, there are two elements that could explain this. More recently, you have the interest rates, which have become very high, and it's very difficult to borrow money these days because it costs you a lot. And going out there and getting a bank to lend you money and being able to pay back all the interest on that is very challenging. We're actually seeing that in the mortgage market, where people are being forced to renew their mortgages at a very high rate. The second element is maybe a little bit more generational, where there's this gap in the generations that we see right now, and the new generation may not be quite as motivated or quite as experienced, and maybe not quite as risk-taking as the previous generation in terms of wanting to go and buy a business. Now, there is a reality that we're seeing in the market that exists, and that reality is that there will be thousands and thousands of businesses for sale in the coming few years. And the reason is that baby boomers are going to be wanting to retire, and they're therefore going to want to sell their businesses. Now, not all businesses are created equal. As of today, we are already seeing a tremendous amount of small businesses. When I talk about small, I mean very small businesses. You're talking about small restaurants, coffee shops, corner stores. You're talking about laundromats. You're talking about landscaping businesses. All businesses that have very small revenue are usually owner-driven, where the owner is wearing several hats, and that profitability isn't quite at a very high level. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good idea to go buy one of these businesses. As a matter of fact, if your budget is such that this type of business is the right one for you, then by all means, you should be exploring these opportunities. But you need to know what you're getting into. You need to build your plan on paper for exactly the type of business that you want to buy. Do you want to buy a business that's product focused, that's distribution focused, that's in the food industry, that's more in landscaping, that's service based, that's technology based? Really wrap your head around the type of business you want to buy first. Look at geography. Are you willing to drive an hour and a half every single day to your business, or do you want something close to home? This is going to have a big impact on the available businesses to you. And then most importantly, what is the role you want to play in this business? Are you going into a business as the president? Or are you going into the business where you want to drive sales? You're more of a talent person, or you're more financially savvy? Because you're going to need to surround yourself with some really good talent once you figured out exactly what it is that you want to do. And then the size. This is probably the most important discussion. As I mentioned, there's tons of really small businesses. When you start getting into slightly larger businesses, it becomes a very different discussion in terms of what you want to buy and what you're able to buy. But you need to look at your budget. You need to look at the borrowing ability that you have out there to determine the size of business that you're able to buy. And that'll have a huge role to play in the business you'll eventually end up with. My message today is to say that, being an acquisition entrepreneur is exciting. I think there's a lot of possibility, and there's clearly a ton of potential with what we're seeing in the market right now with baby boomers on the verge, on the cusp of retirement. So there will be opportunities. The question is, are you ready to take that leap of faith? Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. It is something that requires, I'm not saying a high tolerance to risk, but you definitely have to have a high tolerance to pain and a little bit of suffering, because every entrepreneur goes through that. So you have to be able to work through those challenges while keeping your head up, staying disciplined, and staying very, very motivated along the way. But if you are able to carefully determine your criteria, really figure out exactly what it is you want to accomplish, what it is you're trying to do with your career, there are going to be a tremendous amount of possibilities for you if you keep your eyes open and figure out how to go about it. My one recommendation would be to read a book that I've really enjoyed called Buy Then Build, a really fantastic book written by Walker Diebel. It's probably a great starting point. Great book for any entrepreneur, even whether you're looking for a small business or a larger business. Great book for you to get started off with your entrepreneurial career. I'd say do that as a step one. Start getting your ideas around it, because there will be an endless number of businesses, not all created equal, but a tremendous amount of businesses available on the market in the coming years. If you like this video, please ask others to subscribe or share it with those in your network. It'd be much appreciated. Thanks, and have a great day.